So how's everybody doing out there? Well, we had a couple questions about one of the homework questions, number 7. So I thought I'd walk you through like kind of the thought process of how I actually would do this type of problem. So the main thing you want to remember, in this problem, we're going to be using like our vertical angles theorem. We're going to be using the fact that if you add all the interior angles of a triangle, they equal 180. We're going to use corresponding angles theorem, the alternate interiors angles theorem, and same side interior, same side interior. So lots of different things going on. So the main thing you want to do is just try to pluck off some easy ones as you go along. So like for example, if I look, I see that we've got 60 degrees here, and by the vertical angles theorem, that means that 5, for example, has to be 60 also. And then if you look, 1 and angle 60 are supplementary angles, which means they add up to 180 degrees. So since we know this guy is 60, 180 minus 60 would give us 120. So that tells us angle 1 would be 120. And then again, by vertical angles theorem, that tells us 4 must also be 120. So just by knowing that one thing, we were able to answer that whole entire corner up there. So now I'm going to go down to the bottom corner where the 70 is. And so again, by the vertical angles theorem, angle 9 must be the same thing as angle 70. So it's going to be 70 also. So from here, I'm actually going to jump over and get angle 6 next. Because if I notice, I've got a nice little triangle that contains angles 5, 6, and 9. And since I know 2 of the angles, I can figure out the third angle. So I can get angle 6 by just doing 180 minus 60, which is 120, and then minus 70 gives us 50. So in this case, that gives us our angle 50. So notice at this point, all I've used actually is the supplementary property, vertical angles property, and the triangle property. I haven't actually used any other fancy ones yet, so we'll get to those in a little bit. But just like I did over on that upper left-hand corner, now I can actually fill out the whole upper right-hand corner. So since I know angle 6 is 50, that means angle 3 also has to be 50 because they're both vertical angles. And again, angle 2 and angle 3 are supplementary, so they add up to 180. So if I do 180 minus 50, that gives me 130. And then again, angle 2 and angle 7 are both vertical angles, so that means angle 7 is 130. So lo and behold, I'm almost done. All I've got left is, 8, 11, 10, and 12. So here comes our first new property that we haven't used yet. So remember, in this case, angle 60 and angle 8 are both corresponding angles because they both live in the same position. So they're in the upper left position when those two lines cut the transversal. So that means that 8 is going to be 60 in this case. And so now I can actually find angle 11, because if I look, angle 8, angle 11, and angle 7, all three of those guys add up to 180 degrees. So if I do the same thing and do 180 minus 60, gives me 120, minus 70 gives me 50. So that tells me that angle 11 is 50. And we could have gotten that using corresponding angles also, because if you notice, those two guys are the same, so I could have used corresponding angles as well. Now we can actually finish this guy up because 11 and 10 are vertical angles, so that means 10 is 50. And 8 and 12 are vertical angles, so that means this guy is 60. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this. So there's 2 whole properties I didn't use. I could have used them. So again, this is just one way that you could go about solving it. But again, that's kind of my thought process and me sort of talking through what I'm using. So I hope this helps. If it doesn't clear things up or you're still confused, definitely let me know. Otherwise, have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday.